Hello, I'm Beth. Welcome to my Mindful Yoga channel. Today's Mindful Yoga practice is going to be an all-standing practice that you can do as yoga on your lunch break or yoga as a break any time of the day. It's designed to be a short practice, all standing, no mat or props required. I do recommend that you have bare feet if at all possible. It will help you feel the ground under you and ground yourself in your yoga poses. Okay, ready to get started? As always, we'll start standing. We'll take our feet a little bit wider, perhaps a little wider than shoulder width apart, with the toes turned out. We're going to come into a position that's called horse pose or goddess pose, depending on your tradition, where we bend the knees out toward the middle of the feet. So if you find that your knees are collapsing in, turn the feet a little bit more forward so that when you bend your knees, they can go in the same direction as the middle of your toes, maybe even a little bit more of your outer toes, stretching apart your legs and the inner thighs. Now this is already quite a bit of work. If you've been seated all day, you might notice a lot of effort here. This is designed to give you a little burst of energy and focus. We're going to add a breath to this. Stay in this pose. If you need a little break, come right out, that's fine. So the breathing pattern is going to be in, two quick in breaths, and then sort of a sighing release out. We'll do a little hand gesture with it. You don't have to make the hand gesture, but it sort of helps you feel the breath when you sort of scoop the breath in, out. And let's say 5 rounds, and we'll pause and maybe do 5 more. Okay, so if that was too much for your legs, come up for a moment, take a break. Maybe you're already feeling some sensation and energy in your legs. Come back down to your goddess or horse stance. Find a pose where you can hold. Take a natural breath in and out, and then we'll begin. In. 3 more. Okay, stand up. Whew, you might feel some energy starting to swirl around, some tingly feelings. Let's try one more round of that breath. It's just a nice way to start getting the energy up. Of course, if you feel lightheaded, don't use that breath. Breathe your normal in and out while you're holding the horse stance. All right, back down into your pose. Check your knees over your feet. Go a little lower this time if you have the energy and ability to do that. Otherwise, adjust the pose to wherever fits for you. Natural breath in and out, and then we'll begin that in, out. Okay, one full breath. Stand back up. You can bring your feet together. Return to your natural in-breath and out-breath. Even though this is a fast practice or a quick, short flow, we still take our moments for mindful check-in to see how the poses are affecting our body. That's our mind-body connection. All right, we're going to try a little twist. And we'll take this in a lunge stance. So I'm mirroring you. Let your left foot be ahead of your right. Little stagger feet. Your feet are still roughly parallel. And if you need more stability, take the feet wider apart. So not a super deep lunge. We are going to bend the front knee so that it comes again toward the middle of the toes. And it might come a little bit to the edge of the toes, maybe a little bit over. You can step that foot a little further front if that feels more stable. The back leg, we're really trying to lift the front of the back thigh away. So pressing the back heel toward the ground. And I encourage you to take a shorter stance if that helps you get more press of the back heel. You'll get some stretch in the back of your calf. Right here along the front, this is our hip flexor. Oh, it gets so tight from seated. And then hands on the hips for a moment. Encourage your pelvis to sink. It's not really going to go anywhere, but we're trying to prevent our tailbone from dipping back or scooping under. If anything, maybe a little bit more pushed forward, but we want it fairly neutral. And then let's take the hands to heart center. Thumbs against the chest or against the chin. This is just to, again, bring in our focus and help us keep the head centered on the middle of the chest. And that's why I like touching the tips of the fingers to the chin. We're gonna turn left. So the turn, the spin, the twist comes from the belly button up. It's not gonna go really far. Let's try it. Take a breath in. And then on the exhale, feel the twist begin to happen around the rib cage. So I could turn my head, but I'm trying to keep my head really centered here. Stopping at the point where your head stays centered on your chest. Remember to keep actively pushing this back leg into the floor behind you, getting that stretch. And then if you like, you can prick your hands down. They can be at your hips or resting on your thighs like mine are. And if it feels okay on your neck, take a little twist of your head. And you might see my muscles are shaking a bit here, holding this bottom leg. Last breath here. And start to unwind your upper body back to front. Step the feet together and we'll go to the second side. So we take a moment for setup as you step your left foot back, right foot comes a little forward. Find the bend of your knee where the knee can feel pretty stable over the foot. So that's usually somewhere in the middle part of your toes. Press this back leg away, press the heel, and then feel as if you engage the quad muscles to lift the leg further from the floor. That might get a little engagement, not just in the quads, but I felt my hamstrings start to engage. I can feel that hip flexor there. So feel that for a moment, hands to hips to feel whether your pelvis is starting to tip back. Let it come more down toward the floor, even a teeny tiny scoop forward. That will help keep that engagement of the hip flexor, keep that stretch in the hip flexor engaged in the back leg. And then hands to chest. If you'd like with me, you can touch your tips of your fingertips to your chin. Breath in. And then on the exhale, around the thoracic spine, that's the rib cage, will start spinning to the right. Holding this for a few moments. Breathing into that hold. And an option for the last few moments of the pose, let the hands come down wherever you'd like. And if it feels okay on your neck, add a little twist of your neck. Last breath here. And then unwind, step back together. All right, we'll take another neck stretch. This time we're going to stretch the lateral or side of the neck. So let your right arm be loose by your side. Take your left hand, palm toward me, and then palm away. So a little scarecrow arm. Take the back of the palm toward your back without pushing or arching your back forward. So you're gonna even engage your front body a little bit to push toward the back of the hand. And then if it's doable for you, you can slide the hand, you can see my fingertips all the way around to meet and interlace with the opposite hand. Opposite hand elbow comes back. If that doesn't work, you can hold loosely onto the forearm with the right arm straight. And if neither of those options work, no worries, keep the right arm straight and the back of the palm somewhere along the back. So this elbow might be sticky out more than mine is. I'm gonna interlace my hands, that works for me. And again, if your hands are interlaced, it can be a loose interlace, but draw both elbows back to get engagement across the backs of your shoulders and a stretch across your chest. And then we'll let the left ear start to lower toward the left shoulder. We have our arms a little bit anchored here, so hopefully the right shoulder is staying down and we're feeling some stretch along that side of the neck. And we breathe. One more breath. Keep your hands as you bring your head back up. We're gonna add one more element to that. So arms stay in this position, turn the left toes out to the side and take a little step out. So a little bit of a side lunge, not far. Same thing as we did front, bending our knee, trying to keep our knee somewhere over the foot. And if it's toward the toes, toward the middle part of the toes. And you see my body turned a little bit toward that leg. I try to keep my body a little bit front, but it'll probably be a little bit on a diagonal. And then here, with my hands in this position, I'm going to start leaning to the left. So taking a whole body side lean over that bent knee. And then here you can keep your head centered on your chest, or if you like, you could add in a real release of the neck on this side. Just one breath here. Lots of engagement and work for the lower body in this little mini practice. And then push in your feet to root down, stand up, let your arms go, bring your feet together. Take a moment to feel that in your body. Notice any effects in your mind or your energy level. And we'll switch that to the other side. So your left arm is loose by your side to start. Right arm, little scarecrow. Palm goes toward the back. Arm bent. And then the back of the hand comes somewhere in the back. And remember that we're trying not to take a big arch into the back. So engage the muscles all across your abdomen, your front body, to gently have that isometric contraction against the hand. So if it feels comfortable for the hand to reach over, it might hold the forearm, you might interlace, or you might keep the hand just behind your back. I'm going to interlace on this side. If you are interlaced, you could try to see if you can interlace the weird way. That might be too complicated for today. Draw the elbow back, pull or engage your muscles between your shoulder blades, and that'll help you get some opening and width across the chest. And then we let our right ear start to sink toward the right shoulder, using the left arm to help anchor the left shoulder down, and hopefully finding some stretch and opening on that side of the neck. You can let your breath nourish that stretch and opening. Feel as if you're expanding into the parts that feel sticky or stuck. And then we'll come back up, we'll keep the arms, turn the right foot out to the side, take that mini lunge with the right foot, bend the knee, take a few moments to, you see I'm scooching my other foot, so I can find a place where I feel anchored in both feet, where I feel that my weight is still over both feet. All right, and then from there, we'll start to slide. I'm bending at the side of my hip crease, that's like a hinge, hinging my whole body toward the right. You can even think about drawing the upper shoulder back even a little more. And then you can either keep your head centered and let the head simply hang. And you can play around with the position of the neck. It might feel good to take a little gaze down at your foot, or even to look up at the ceiling. Last breath. And then press into your feet to root down, rise back up, come into center. So last little bit of activity, I love to add in a little balance. I think balance really helps us to focus mentally. It's so good for us physically. So we're going to start very simply. Start with your feet down on the ground. Think about the weight being more in one foot than the other. It doesn't matter which side you start on. And then with the weight strongly in your foot that's anchored, lift the opposite knee, maybe hover for a moment, and then place it back down. Shift the weight to that foot, lift, brief hover if you can, and come back down. So basically what we're doing is a slow march. I'm doing a fairly high knee march. If you feel better keeping this as a more of a low hover, go ahead and do that. Anywhere in your range. The idea is to focus on this movement, anchoring into the bottom foot as you lift, hovering for a moment if possible. Think about if it's icy and we start to slip. It's so important to have that ability to refine our balance when we're in that mid-hover. And then we're going to add a last optional element to our hover. So one more on this side. And then anchor into your bottom foot. Lift your knee into your hover. And if you'd like, hold around your thigh, the front of your knee, wherever you can reach. Gently use your hands to pull that a little bit closer to your torso. Let that down. Other side. Anchor into the bottom leg first. Lift the opposite leg knee. Gently pull, and yeah, you'll see some wobbling of me. It's actually better to keep your gaze down, not looking right at me, so that you can maintain your own balance. Let's do a few more on each side. Oops, I almost lost it there. And it's okay to lose your balance. That's part of what we're strengthening, our ability to rebalance when we lose our balance. If doing it with the hands is not working for you, go back to the slow march without the hands. You can also grab, if you have a sweater or something else lying around your office, a scarf. You can use that to help you hug the legs in. So I started looking down to try to find a focal point, a drishti, a place for my gaze to focus a little bit more, helping me move around less. Let's do one more on each side. Little knee hover here. Wobbling means we're building up strength. And last side. Set back down, find your parallel feet. So every time we do that, this is mountain pose. Mountain pose is our basic standing pose. Let's pause here for a minute before we end this practice for a very quick body scan, bringing our attention back to our bodies. Body scan again helps connect the mind and the body. You can have your eyes soft. Take your attention to your feet. Feel the solidity of your feet connecting with the ground, whether you have shoes on or not. Notice your ankles strongly over your feet, your knees over your ankles, your strong leg bones, your femur bones, how those connect all the way up into your hip girdle. And then notice the hips, the pelvis, balanced over the feet. Continue up the sides of your body. Notice your front body, your back body. Notice how your torso is holding you over your pelvis. Feel your arms by your sides. Maybe you even make contact with your finger near your inseam. Feeling how your shoulders are supported over your hips. And then your head supported at the top of your spine. Maybe a gentle pulling back of your head, pulling your chin in just a little bit so that the backs of the head, the back of the skull can feel more supported over your spine. Take a moment here. One mindful, intentional, full breath in and out. So breathe in. Exhale fully, maybe with a sigh. And that was your lunchtime practice for today. If you like these short series, I have more of them. Give them a try. If you want to practice a longer, fuller yoga practice with me, I have that too. Please do subscribe, like this, and tell me what you think in the comments below. That will help me guide more practices that work for you. Thank you again.